Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just to give you some, or you all guys, a general overview, I think now as we have Michael here, he can probably share some insights into Cosmos and what he's seeing going on behind the scenes with setting up or gearing up for Cosmoverse. And then later on, we can just open up the open mic session where everybody can post their questions. We can talk about any specific coins. If you guys have questions about Akash, I can do a shared screen and go over the details and all the calculations I did there. If somebody is still holding Akash or wants to double down what 𝗬𝗺𝗿𝗀 and 𝗪𝗂𝗪 thesis. And then towards the end, I would like to, I don't know, I just had this idea in the past where it occurred to me a few days ago. I also talked about to Michael about that idea yesterday, the Magnificent Seven of crypto. You know, like we all know the Magnificent Seven of the of the stock markets, which dominated most of the returns, and I don't know, they are 40% of the entire Nasdaq and are just dominating S&P returns. So I think going forward we might see similar things in crypto where just a bunch of protocols will dominate that, and we can just brainstorm what these protocols might be or these coins so that we can position ourselves accordingly. But without further ado, Michael, if you want to share some insights in Cosmos, whether, like, what do you see institutional demand, or are the Cosmos OGs coming back, who's reaching out to you, and where are all the interesting discussions happening?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely shifting more towards institutions. Like you also saw, not even Cosmos only, but even Avalanche announced yesterday they're raising like $1 billion. Polygon, now I saw Sandeep tweeting about Paul being like an institutional coin, or being interested in shield in front of institutions. So Atom is going a similar way. I think now we have people that are the steering wheel that are proactively reaching out to people like institutions, governments, to build chains that also in some way, shape, or form accrue value for Atom. Yeah, I mean, this year, from a customer's point of view, I think every year it's interesting to see like which projects are excited, which projects are like coming in full force. This year we'll definitely have a bit of a different audience. It's also just a matter of funding for many of these teams, of course. So yeah, you can definitely tell that this year a lot of teams have been in pure survival mode, and that also, of course, makes it a lot harder for us. But yeah, I think if you look at the lineup, you can see like we have some very strong speakers, partners, sponsors as well. But it's definitely been a heavy lift this year. So yeah, I think that's one thing. The other thing also, I think we are seeing now that the Cosmos thesis is validated by the market. Stripe announcing Tempo, which is very likely to be built on Cosmos SDK, Arc that is built on Malachite informal systems, which is basically Comet BFT and Rust. So you're seeing all these thesis is validated that Cosmos has invented almost, not almost, like Cosmos has invented the Appchain thesis, the concept of sovereign blockchain infrastructure, interoperable finance. That's also the slogan we're now like running with for Cosmoverse. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, most people in the markets, crypto Twitter, like most people just care about returns, and that's fair enough. I of course want my portfolio to go up as well. And if you're saying now like you're holding Cosmos, like nobody will care. Like people will feel sad for you, rightfully so. Atom at $4 something is like crazy. Just saw today it was ranked on 670. This is the lowest ranking Atom ever had on CoinGecko. So yeah, something needs to happen, and the price needs to pump. I think Cosmos Labs definitely has some things cooking. Permissionless Cosmoverse going live is also nice. We have StreamSwap now and like more of permissionless applications. And final thing I would say is like, what I still think people don't really understand about Cosmos is like the whole thesis was validated, and the fact that we are very, very bottom-up ecosystem is very, very good in the long term. Because at one point we'll probably not have such a pro-open, pro-crypto and open regulation from the US. Trump just launched 2 coins basically. 3 coins, like Melania coin, Trump coin, World Liberty, like they're launching their own coins. There will be governments in the future probably that are not doing that. And I think if there's ever, again, a strong regulatory headwind, there's no other ecosystem better positioned than Cosmos, specifically Atom. Because I think I made a video about this also a couple of weeks ago, but the Interchain Foundation, they only have 3 or 4% of the Atom supply. They're not running the ecosystem conference. We do that, we're independent from them. You don't have that setup in any other cryptocurrency. Like, it's just unheard of. So I think this decentralization factor, of course, you can call it fragmentation, slow decision making, no unification. Those are all downsides, but the upside here is true decentralization, at least relative to other contenders. And I think that is still a very underrated fact. in the long term, I think we're going to see, right? Like, I know you talk about Hyperliquid a lot. Me personally, I first want to see Hyperliquid around for one full cycle, right? Let the founders do their thing. They're all crazy rich already. Let's see in 2-3 years if they're still aligned. The token itself, the early investors, the community, there will be a 90% drop, like with every coin in the history. So I am always like, let's see in 3-4 years. And that's also another thing Atom has, right? It's been around for so many years on mainnet. Redistribution of the team, of the community. It's still there. It's falling on page 1 on CoinGecko, but it's still on page 1. So yeah, it's surviving. I kept saying this also, like, it's surviving is one of the most underrated achievements in crypto, and to manage to survive at least, so that's something.
No, yeah, those are some very valuable points. I mean, of course, now the revenue meta is up in front and in everybody's mind. But as we said before, there's probably the revenue meta, there is, I don't know, some memetics, and then probably there is this decentralized store of value, this neutral thing. Otherwise, how does it make sense that Ethereum has a $500 billion market cap? So I think Ethereum falls into this category, and honestly, Atom could like be a contender for this category as well going forward. As you said, it's one of the most decentralized coins out there. There's nobody in charge of it. And they launched the coin via an ICO 4 or 5 years ago. And the token just is so widely distributed, I think, that no token that launches today can replicate this distribution story. They might still struggle to like generate any meaningful revenue, but probably they're not even competing there. And I think for Atom, that's fine, but I'm way more pessimistic on all the other Cosmos chains, because Atom, as you said, can go away with it. Just the decentralized governance, probably the most decentralized chain which has governance rights. And over again with Atom 2.0, Cosmoverse, the community just decided against the will of the core developer team, which is something unprecedented and definitely, yeah, interesting development. I don't know. So other than Atom, are there any other OG Cosmos coins that you are still bullish on? And then the second question, what are new and upcoming Cosmos chains, like the bigger players, like, you know, institutional backed, which you keep an eye on?
I mean, I still have all my OG coins. I still hold Osmosis, Sentinel, all of them. I think personally, I'm not sure where these coins are going. I really hope Osmo can make a comeback. But at 14-15 cents where it is right now, it's crazy low valuation. And again, it's like a very competitive market now. So not sure how they will manage to come back, especially with Sunny not being there. Yeah, I think from the Cosmos coins, generally speaking, I mean, I've been investor into Say Network since like a year before mainnet launch. That one I think is going to do well. Babylon I think is going to do well. They also, you know, just recently launched. Now they're going through a time of challenges and difficulties, but they still have a multi-billion-dollar TVL. They have their EVM ecosystem being rolled out. They have a lot of funding as well. Even Parachain, Celestia. Celestia is one I think we're also still quite bullish on. But of course, there's a lot of like question marks because today they're not generating sufficient revenue. They're not owning or dominating a hot narrative right now. So I know it's not our time, but I think our time will come, and then I'm going to be there with my portfolio locked and loaded. I think it makes sense, like you said earlier, right? Like Hyperliquid, if you just look at the revenue, like it's a no-brainer to hold hype tokens right now. I don't hold any, but I definitely see how it makes sense to hold some. Yeah, I'm not complaining, but I think that's also the thing, right? You can never catch the perfect trade, the perfect entry. But yeah, I definitely see a case for holding coins like Pump or Hyperliquid for the revenue meta alone. Again, for me, right now, one, I'm crazy busy with things, so I don't really have time to kind of trade. But then second, also, I feel like buying hype now at a $60 billion valuation, to me, even with this crazy buyback revenue stuff, like, I don't know, for me, it's too much, too high. And like even Pump.Fun has like a multi-billion dollar valuation, right? 10 billion or something, 7 billion. So yeah, my experience has always been like, of course, you're like, if a coin dies, like you have to write it off or you sell before it completely dies off. But for me, it's also like sometimes just holding through dark times, holding through FAT, holding through all that stuff might actually, of course, if there's still development, if there's still funding, still people working on it, in the end, like, might turn out to be a smart move. But yeah, that's the thing in crypto. Like, you never know. Like, narratives change so quickly. Competition is very, very strong. So even Atom, right? Like, Hyperliquid is an Appchain. Hyperliquid is built on a fork of BFT or Tenement. But they are never writing narrative like, oh, we're an Appchain, Cosmos pioneered that, we're using Cosmos technology, or at least a fork of it. We just focus on products and distribution. And I think that's also now where crypto is shifting towards, because now infrastructure is slowly getting ready for use cases that can be used by hundreds of thousands of people every day, right? So Hyperliquid is a great example, plus they nailed it on the economics. And Cosmos sometimes is still stuck too much in fixing theoretic use cases that no one has asked to fix. So, yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely exciting times. As you said, sometimes holding through a bear market is so fucking hard. I mean, I just looked back at my humble beginnings in crypto in 2017, and of course, initially I just bought Bitcoin. That was pretty much the only thing that you could purchase back then. And if I just hodled all that fucking Bitcoin I bought back then, I would have outperformed my current portfolio by 5x, but I think most people just underperform the benchmark. But you know, back then you could have never imagined that Bitcoin goes beyond 100K. But of course, it's a long journey. Yeah. It's 7-8 years since, and yeah, that would have been a 100x. Of course, I still hold a little bit of Bitcoin. But yeah, sometimes I think we just get caught up, you know, oh, back in 2021, my portfolio all-time high was there. And if I just get back to this level, I will cash out everything. And now, you know, as some, I don't know, the animal spirits are coming back and you see some froth in the markets. Sometimes I just feel that even though people claim to be here for the long term, they fundamentally believe in the vision. They're just trying to be the first one to dump on everybody else. But again, as I said with the Magnificent Seven, I think there are really some gems in crypto that will survive for the long term and will generate continuous revenue for its holders. But inevitably, 99% of all the coins out there will go to zero over a longer time horizon. Mr. 𝗪𝗁, what is your take on the project leaving Cosmos for other chains? I think that's directed to you, Michael, like 𝗪𝗵𝘁, Shade Protocol, Alice. I know that, yeah, you're a Alice, not maxi, but bullish on Alice, and that you farmed some their DeFi strategies. No, Mr. 𝗪𝗁. And yeah, if you guys want to pose some direct questions, yeah, either drop them in the chat or raise your hands. And yeah, Buff also asks, Michael, what do you think about Shane and that he left? But yeah, let's tackle the question first. Yeah, what do you think about these, I call them OG Cosmos projects that never really had a massive run-up, that are now migrating to other ecosystems, trying to find users and liquidity for their tokens over there?
Yeah, I think Cosmos is very unique in a sense, like very bottom up, which means you are not getting the support that you might get on other ecosystems, at least on paper, right? But I also know for a fact, like migrating to Base or Solana is not going to fix product market fit. You need to also have, like, crypto is not easy. Like whether you are an investor, you want to make money, or if you're a founder and you're like, crypto is your career, right? Like in my case, like crypto is my career, like it's my full-time job. And if I go in with the expectation that like, I depend on that foundation, I depend on that organization to like make me successful, then I'm like, that's the wrong mindset to begin with. I think in 𝗪𝗁𝘁's case specifically, because I know them for a very long time, I really appreciate them. I love their team. I love Sysla, I love Daya, I love Chetan, I love all of them. The issue there has not been too much on the kind of expectations. I think the issue has been more on the direction that Cosmos was supposed to be going and then wasn't going. Like latest example, EVM to be deployed on a Cosmos hub. 𝗪𝗁𝘁's team was preparing everything to launch StreamSwap, to build DeFi protocols, to be fully aligned with ICL. And then they got entirely rocked basically by that not happening. But then there's also other teams that are just there and say like, oh, we never got support from Cosmos. So like what kind of support do you expect? I mean, I can say the same thing. Like there's a lot of teams that I personally feel like they should support me a lot more. They should support us at the Cito Zone a lot more. They should support customers a lot more. They're not, right? Like in the end of the day, everyone has their own agenda, and that's totally fair. That's totally fine. Everyone has their own interests. Everyone has their own way to make money or interest to make money. And it's sometimes PvP, right? It's like, that's just how it is. And I would say I'm also, that's why I'm so good with Sysla and the 𝗪𝗁𝘁 team, because they're very humble people. They're very kind of synergetic. They always look like, how can we add value? And I think I have a very similar mindset to that. But there's also a lot of people that only care about max extracting, and they don't really care about anything else. And like, they don't even see it in a negative way, right? They're just here to like okay, I'm just like, what's in it for me? How can I make money? So that's a long answer to that. But yeah, I think honestly, it's not going to kill Cosmos, because also the focus is a lot different now with Cosmos Labs focusing on institutions and government. So yeah, and that's also where big money is, right? That's also their agenda in that sense. That's also where they're focused on. And I get that. So yeah. And Shane, to be honest, I think he just probably turned out, or yeah. I mean, if you're a founder for 4 or 5 years, you constantly get attacked, you constantly get flooded, you constantly get to see your token price go down. I can only imagine how stressful that is. And yeah, I think Shane made the right decision. He cut it off. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks for your honest takes and thoughts. And yeah, we'll just add some color or my personal takes. I mean, I 100% agree with you. As I just said before, 99% of all crypto projects will be gone within the next 3 to 5 years. The moment they run out of VC funding, which now happened to some OG Cosmos projects, they're gonna die, you know. If you cannot sustain yourself via protocol revenue, or you cannot find new money investors, then I think, yeah, you're basically lost or supposed to change or change direction. And 𝗬𝗏, I mean, I listened to some of their migration conversations, and there, like, to me, it seemed more that their investors, they forced them to migrate over to Base, since probably they were unhappy with the token performance. And 𝗬𝗏, I think they had some decent traction in Cosmos. We all like used their protocol, they paid out decent yields, and they also had some good swap execution prices for certain pairs. But still, of course, then you compare Cosmos to Base, and the liquidity over there is 100x that of Cosmos, but there are also 100 times more projects against whom you have to compete. And in the end, it really boils down to product market fit. If you don't have BMF, then it doesn't matter where you are, your token won't catch a bid. And we've seen that with Hyperliquid. I mean, they built their own Appchain, but it's not even IBC connected. It's not connected to Ethereum, to Solana, nothing. But everybody rushes there since it's just a killer product and everybody wants to use it. So yeah, it's really about product. And also 𝗬𝗏𝗿𝗀, the founder of 𝗬𝗪, I think he shared a similar post a few days ago where he said, like, now folks are leaving Cosmos. Yeah, that makes sense, but they won't be better off anywhere else unless they have a killer product. And of course, also the decision to no longer pursue the EVM route hit some folks, I don't know, pretty hard, like Stripe, and they're forced to do something else. And also Meg and the new now Cosmos Labs leadership, they publicly announced that they cannot support all the smaller Cosmos projects. I mean, they're no charity organization that just hands out goodies to everybody, and they have to focus on their core business. And that, unfortunately, for many OG chains is not helping them, but rather working with those institutions and big Web2 players that are now moving into the crypto space, launching their own chains. So I still think Atom has a chance to survive, especially given that they have a 300 million war chest. So they can just keep throwing, I don't know, spaghettis towards the wall until one sticks. But all the others, they unfortunately don't have this massive war chest. And that's why I also decided to like sell all of my AKT.
Yeah, why? So you sold your AKT? I raised my hand because I still have all my AKT. But I bought it at I bought it like years ago when I first learned about Cosmos. And I think also Greg was one of the first people I ever interviewed in Cosmos. I think it was like July, August 2021. I don't remember exactly, but like quite early on. And I didn't understand anything what they're doing. But now, of course, 4 years later, I think for me, it's definitely a narrative play and a bet on the team. And I bet on the team. I love Greg. Very, very smart man, experienced man. You know, have a solid team, good team, been around for many years. Amanda is amazing. Adam is amazing. So I think I'm bullish on the team and I'm bullish on the narrative. I'm bullish on the Akash brand that also managed to get widely known in crypto. But I think your main concern is around the tokenomics. And to be honest, like I said, I have really been unplugged. So I'm happy that someone like Seppmos exists, who is doing all the research, is breaking it down, and maybe telling me why I should sell all my AKT.
I mean, for me, it was exactly the same. I held Akash for several years, and I think we bought it below $1, probably around 25 cents, most of it. And I wrote it up all the way to $4 or $5, but of course never took any profit. And as you say, the team is strong with Greg, one of the OGs, you know, most crypto founders, they are, I don't know, 20 years old with very little experience. and he has definitely a longer term vision and has more experience in running a team. Then the narrative is strong with AI and DeepIn. But yeah, I mean, even though I knew that they never generate any meaningful value, but the moment I discovered how hard they rate their community pool, like I was just mind blown, like no way that this is gonna sustain. I mean, in 2025, this year only, we're still in Q3. Q3 didn't end. They spent 14 million from the community pool. So basically 14 million US dollar have been requested from the community pool in form of AKT token. And like that is just additional sell pressure, because otherwise, I don't know if they can't raise money, but this is how they do marketing. This is how they do events. This is how they incentivize providers to come and provide compute on the Akash network. And this is also lately how they incentivize tenants. I mean, they have to pay the supply and the demand side for now. I understand that they say they're currently in the growth and expansion phase, but this was just a big no-go. I mean, no revenue, massive community pool depletion, and also in 2024 they sold 17 million, but back then AKT price was much higher and had deeper liquidity, so it wasn't a big concern back then. But like after my research, I just had the impression that's their, I don't know, only possible reason to fund their own conference or do anything else. I mean, they host their own conference and they request 500,000 from the community pool. If you do that, Michael, like as an external body doing Cosmoverse, then of course you can request from the community pool. But if Cosmos Labs organizes their sovereign event and they ask funds from the community pool, I would be pissed as a token holder. But probably I'm also a bit biased now and leaning towards the revenue meta, and I wouldn't write off Akash at all. Greg will be here and building for the next few years. It's just for my personal portfolio. I like to hold other things in the meantime. All right, so now guys, I would like to shift gears, and if anybody wants to hop on stage, share whatever is on your mind, feel free to do so. Otherwise, drop some questions in the chat, and just let me know what you want to talk next, whether you want to see the proof of the AKT spending, or whether you want to discuss what I think Magnificent 7 in crypto could look like, or what you think. We can talk about Mike's Pengu thesis, and anything else that you would like to ask Michael or myself, or just have a brainstorm session, feel free to jump on stage. And generally just some thoughts on the market right now. I don't know, like recently I began to unstake, like I sold almost all of my entire AKT position, and like there was just that moment that I realized, normally I'm 100% invested, I don't have any cash reserves aside, or I don't hold any stables, but then you sell 5-10% of AKT, and it just does something to your mind, If you sell just a small portion, I can sell a little bit more, and I wish I put that money directly into Pump or Hyperliquid, but I just kept it in stables. Now I think it's fine, these other coins, they can run, and I just hold some cash and wait now for some bullbacks, which I think will come sooner or later, since the last week has basically just been a vertical rise, especially for Hype, Solana, Pump, Pengu, and nothing goes up in a straight line. And I also consider sending some monies back to my stock accounts and just diversify a little bit more into the S&P 500, or GLXY is another ticker that I began DCAing in lately. Like they're basically a bet on crypto and AI. Galaxy Digital, they were one of the largest Bitcoin miners back in the days, and they fully shifted their business models, and now they converted their mining facilities into AI data centers, but they still have their business, their crypto branch, and they are part of the Fort ETF, Fort DOT with Multicoin, Jump, and Galaxy, like the biggest Solana bull. And so, if you want to have exposure in crypto and AI, then I think Galaxy, or it's at least, of course, no financial advice, something that I'm buying lately. They have a market cap of 10 billion, I guess. So that's a long play. There's a big team behind it, and they're not gonna rock you. A little bit more diversified than crypto and less risky. All right, there is another question coming in. Does Cito+ see discussing projects outside of Cosmos? Okay, so that's Cito+. Let me go first, and Michael can try to answer. I mean, we also discussed that yesterday, and that's 100% the direction I want to go with Cito Plus. I mean, as all of you guys in this call are aware, most of the coins we discussed lately have been not Cosmos coins, and I just think that currently there are better investment opportunities outside of Cosmos. I mean, we called Hype a few weeks ago, we called Pump, we called Pengu, and those tokens, like, I don't know, between 30 to 67%, they all went up. But there will definitely be a time when Cosmos comes back to the limelight and we can shift back. It's just that, you know, with CryptoCito and CitoZone, I think that we are like this Cosmos brand, and there we will mainly focus not on Cosmos, like Michael can explain that way better than I do, but here in Cito Plus, which is like my vision. I just want to create a group of like-minded people, and I just want to become the best investor possible without taking extreme risk. And I want you and or like we as a group to evolve and just share ideas, bounce back, I just brainstorm, you know. I mean, the discussion we had with Mike and other folks here about Pengu or Bump, they were super helpful to me, and I learned a lot, and I hopefully other folks here can learn as well. It's just sometimes hard, you know, outside or like out there on the socials, I try to brand, I would love to grow the Cito Plus community, but most people, they think that all we do here is talking Cosmos and Cosmos airdrops, which is definitely, yeah, not right. Here it's just I share my personal investor or investment journey and learn, yeah, try to learn and grow together with you and just become, yeah, better investors, catch airdrops and the latest trends.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm always going to be Cosmonaut because I'm fundamentally convinced of the Appchain thesis, sovereignty, interoperability. But I think the word Cosmos, like while it represents that to me, for other people, it only means drama, infighting, and it just has this direct link to those things. And to directly answer your question, I think, yes, we can definitely use this platform like Seppmos was saying, right? Cito Plus is supposed to be an open community platform where you have questions about projects, you have feedback, you want feedback on your portfolio, you want feedback on whether buying this token is a good idea, whether this airdrop link is safe to claim, anything, right? You have requests for founder interviews. It can even be outside of Cosmos. And I had a call last week with Gavin Wood, and like philosophically, there's a lot of similarities between what Polkadot is doing, what Cosmos is doing, what Stripe is doing with Tempo, right? They're like just validating that thesis. And I think philosophically, where all of us here are aligned on that, at least I think so. If Osmo goes to $100 or it goes to zero, of course, I wish it goes to $100. Am I betting my life savings on it? Of course not. I think as an investor, you need to be, of course, diversified. You need to also go with hot trends, which right now for me personally, because I'm just deep in Cosmos and just my day-to-day work, my career, like I have not really made a lot of adjustments on my portfolio in recent weeks. The only coin I have been buying a couple of weeks ago was Space and Time SXT, which is also not a Cosmos project, but it's also an Appchain. It's built on Substrate, so it fits into that philosophy. And for me, in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But what just I'm fundamentally convinced of is this Appchain thesis, and that's what I, you know, kind of represent, and I think a lot of you guys resonate with as well.
And in the meantime, Michael, like talking generally about the outlook for the rest of the year going into Q4, I mean, you've been a crypto OG and you've been around, I don't know, when you entered the space, probably 2017, 2016. What do you think? Is the 4-year cycle over, or are there no more cycles? Yeah, what are your takes?
My take is that like it's gonna repeat like it always does. Right now, I think we're in a phase where people speak about, you know, we first spoke about Bitcoin season only, then Ethereum started running after people said it was dead. Now people say coins like Cosmos are dead, or Atom. I don't know, I think we will have a full-blown alt season where just everything pumps for no reason. I think we'll have that. Maybe not 100% of the coins, but like 90, 95% of the coins. We definitely do not have a new inflow of retail right now. You can see that by social metrics, viewership, channel viewership, of course, for us also because Cosmos interest is lower, but generally speaking, even if you look at general channels like Coinburo, CryptoBanter, relative to their subscriber count, viewership, I think now compared to full run altcoin season, we're still away from that. So we're seeing people maybe not even leaving, but like at least not as interested in altcoins. And so far, I think it's been mostly institutional driven, this whole rally. Even for coins like Solana, right, that have an ETF now, that have institutional backholders, this whole DATS narrative, like it's all bringing in liquidity. That's phase 1 of the bull run, and I think maybe that phase comes to an end, but then phase 2, which is the actual bull run, is going to be the retail mania, and I think that one we haven't seen yet. And in 1 week we're likely to have rate cuts. I think that is going to be a big final puzzle piece or final domino that needs to fall. Hopefully relief with the Middle East, with Russia-Ukraine situation, of course, that's another big thing. The whole like global macro environment and political situation. Yeah, I think rate cuts are going to be a big catalyst. Q4 is always a strong quarter. September usually is a weak month, but I think getting into October, we're going to see hopefully some of these coins bouncing pretty nicely. I think if you look at the total 3 chart, the everything except Bitcoin and Ethereum, we're I think just now entering new all-time highs. But you also have to think that like we now have 1,000, 10,000 more coins like we had 2 years ago, and we have multi-billion-dollar chains like Babylon or like Appchain, all these new chains. So while we have a lot more supply, the market cap is not even in like new all-time highs. It's still like $2 trillion or something for all altcoins. So I think there's huge upside. If the whole altcoin market goes to 8 to 10 trillion, that means some of these coins will do 10, 20, 30x's. And I think we're here for that. And hopefully most of us will catch some good coins in that phase. But yeah, you can always ask me, I'm always bullish in crypto, but Q4, October rate cuts, I think everything is set for a little relief rally. Thank you. 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗍𝗹. I think, honestly, like, it's inevitable that institutions and governments are launching chains or products in crypto. I think they will definitely do it, and I think there's no other tech stack that is better suited for them to do that than Cosmos. So in Cosmos, they can still have sovereignty, they can still maintain a level of control. And some of them, to be honest, I've spoken to like governments. I've spoken to Croatian government, Serbian, even government of Bermuda, or like someone that is advising them. In some of these countries, like they even are open to explore public permissionless rails for their chains, for their products. So it's not only about like how institutions are coming, like, you know, this is all anti-crypto, CBDCs, whatever. Sure, there are some of them, and maybe Cosmoverse can be a platform to convince them that actually it's about empowering the people, it's about decentralization, immutability, all those core values that why are we in crypto, right? But they need that dialogue, and I think Cosmoverse is a great platform to have that dialogue. We're going to announce like a few panels, and you'll see we're mixing it up. We're mixing up regulators, central banks, and crypto founders, Cosmos founders. We're bringing these on a panel to discuss those things because that's the conversations we can facilitate. And like if the result of that is that they're building their own chains, and I think that's exactly what a Cosmos stack exists for, right? It's like you can build a permissionless, open source, fully decentralized, community-driven meme coin launchpad, but you can also launch your national currency in a permissioned, compliant, centralized way, but it's all interoperable with each other. I think that's the full Cosmos vision. It's accessible and usable for everyone, and that's open finance, right, as well. Like, yeah, so that's my take, but I have to jump now. But Seppmos, thank you so much for setting this up. I don't know if anyone else wants to come up, I maybe have 1 or 2 more minutes, but to jump in other meetings.
Nova Chain, are you involved in that project, or would you mind to share a little bit more about it? Is it a Cosmos chain, and why are you so bullish on it?
I think this is something that Mark shared a few weeks ago in the Atom Telegram chat.
It will be like side chain or connected with EVM, and I do think that right now Cosmos do not have marketing, don't apply 𝗂𝗪𝗏 because Atom don't have a product. And actually, no, it will be like a product for a Cosmos chain because everything will be on Atom, gas, everything. We can deploy here DEXs, lending protocols, all that stuff. Actually use another chains on Cosmos Hub. But if we will make some cool stuff around Atom with all benefits and takes going directly to Atom, after that we can launch their marketing like program and bring some new community here, make some stuff. People will write a lot in Twitter. That's my take and what I'm thinking about now a long time. Actually, yeah, that's my take on that.
I see. I read this post as well, but I totally forgot about it. And probably we had this argument as well, and I told you, no, I don't see retail coming back to Cosmos anytime soon. Like Meg just said that the Cosmos Hub, the chain is too slow and it's too rigid, it's too ossified, it's hard to kick validators out of the active set if you want to produce fast, permissionless chains where external people can come in and deploy applications on. But I totally forgot about Nova. And I think that's a new proof of authority chain that the ICL team is gonna launch with just a few validators that they can have super low block times and super fast throughput, and I guess they're working also on improving Comet BFD so that they can speed it up to 10K, 100K TPS eventually, so it becomes this playground where everybody can, I don't know, just launch their applications and have some fun, this sandbox-like environment where no real stake are at, or no real, stakes are at play, and if something goes south, then it doesn't really matter, but it could become very useful for Atom as it's used as gas and just the base token to play around in DeFi. And I think that will also become their main pitch to external clients like institutions or Web2 companies that want to launch their own chain. Hey, because if you only have the Cosmos Hub, well, look at our brilliant chain. We have 6-second block times and a 1K TPS. That's of course not a convincing argument to win anyone over. But if you suddenly have Nova with 100K TPS, I don't know, half-second block times and just permissionless EVM environments, probably also Cosmoverse fits in there. Yeah, thanks for sharing, and I saw that you also shared the summary here. Buff, yeah, excited what they are cooking, because I really think, like, why I was so disappointed, I thought that no new people are coming into Cosmos. Back in the days as Michael onboarded me, he made osmosis tutorials. It was super exciting, super cool yield opportunities left and right. But now that Atom is going the institutional route, it's pretty hard to attract new retail people. But yeah, thanks, or I'm glad that you brought it up again. It totally escaped my mind. But I think they have retail folks and builders in mind, as well.
Because in my opinion, we don't have to spend money right now on marketing, because that marketing will go for nothing. People will came to Atom, but nothing Atom to use actually. That's why we don't have 𝗪𝗁 right now at the moment. We don't have marketing use cases on Twitter and working together with another chains like in marketing case or cross marketing case like that. But actually with Nova it's possible. People will come, they will buy Atom, they will use Atom, they will pay fees back to Interchain Labs to increase community pool, and they can use that community money to continue that marketing strategy, and that will bring more retail users to Cosmos Hub. And actually, in my vision, how it might work, that retail will create a positive feedback, and actually big companies, big businesses, or maybe government will see that Cosmos have positive vibes and will choose it primarily. Because with negative effect, I don't think like Cosmos it's a good choice, or maybe that dialogue will be more complicated to make that deal final. Like that, it's my case.
Yeah, super cool. I mean, they haven't shared any timelines on it. It might probably, not go live.
Yeah, unfortunately.
This year. But I mean, probably they can also iterate pretty fast on it, since it's a proof of authority chain and there's no real, money at stake. But it's cool, here, most exciting, we want to build Nova. I'm just reading it for those that are listening to the recording, which is an official Atom-powered proof of authority chain that is EVM compatible. This would be constructed by the ICL with the latest tech we're gonna work on, hyper fast, using Cosmos EVM, IBC 𝗪𝗂, etc. You can think of it as a sidechain to the Cosmos Hub. So yeah, that's the TLDR.